No one ever valued her, until she showed her true power. Clara worked in the shadows for years, but now, as CEO of SwiftTech Industries, she's taking back what's hers. Those who looked down on her didn't see the real strength. A woman's rise from ordinary to legendary. Not just changing her job, but the fate of an entire company with one bold move. Get ready, change is coming. Every morning at SwiftTech Industries, Clara arrived long before the first light of dawn graced the sky. While the rest of the office stirred with the hurried clatter of coffee cups and bustling briefcases, Clara moved through the hushed corridors with quiet purpose. She was a silent sentinel of the early hours, methodically mopping the floors and emptying trash bins with a precision that belied the hard work behind each gesture. Farsale and Metin, most employees barely noticed her presence. When they did, it was usually in the form of a snide remark about her worn-out shoes or a dismissive laugh as she carefully dusted their gleaming, expensive monitors. One particularly sharp-tongued moment came when CEO Mr. Thornton, with a dismissive sneer and a booming voice that echoed off the modern walls, declared, "Watch out, or she scrubbed your job away." His comment, intended as a joke, rippled through the open-plan office, igniting a chorus of light-hearted mockery. Yet Clara never once returned a glance filled with hurt or indignation. Instead, she continued her work with a steady grace, her eyes always sharp and clear behind her glasses, reflecting a reservoir of unspoken resilience. Each swipe of her mop was imbued with a quiet dignity, a silent testimony to a life built on perseverance and quiet strength. Though her days were filled with tasks that went unnoticed by many, Clara carried with her an inner light that no amount of ridicule could dim, a beacon of steadfast determination in the face of everyday adversity. Unknown to everyone at SwiftTech, Clara's story was woven into the very fabric of the company's history. Decades ago, her parents had founded SwiftTech with dreams of innovation and integrity. When they passed away, Clara inherited their shares, a legacy so profound that it carried the weight of generations. Yet, rather than stepping into the glare of corporate limelight, she chose a path of quiet stewardship. Hiring Mr. Thornton to manage the day-to-day operations, she maintained a deliberate anonymity, ensuring that her parents' vision continued to flourish without the distractions of fame or fortune. Lately, however, the balance had begun to tip. Profits were plummeting, and whispers of discontent spread through the office corridors. Mr. Thornton, once entrusted with the company's legacy, had strayed from the original mission. His indulgence in extravagant luxury trips and a blatant disregard for mounting employee complaints painted a stark contrast to the principles upon which SwiftTech was built. From the quiet hum of her early morning routine, Clara observed the unraveling empire with a heavy heart. Every detail, every misstep was carefully recorded in a small, worn notebook, a silent chronicle of her struggle to salvage what her parents had so lovingly constructed. Each note was a blend of sorrow and resolve, reflecting her inner turmoil and the fierce determination to restore the integrity of the legacy that meant so much to her. One crisp afternoon, as the late sun filtered through the glass walls of SwiftTech Industries, Clara's ears caught a snippet of a conversation that froze her blood. Hidden in the background, she heard Mr. Thornton boast about selling confidential company secrets to a rival firm, a revelation that could devastate everything her parents had built. Her heart pounded like a drum, yet outwardly she maintained a serene calm, a mask honed by years of silent endurance. The very next day, the tension in the air was palpable during a high-stakes board meeting, when Clara made her quiet entrance. With a humble tray in hand meant to refill water pitchers, she stepped into the room as if she were simply part of the daily routine. The board members, caught up in the usual banter, barely spared her a second glance until Mr. Thornton's derisive remark sliced through the murmurs. "Shouldn't you be scrubbing toilets?" He sneered, his voice dripping with condescension as he adjusted the gleaming gold cufflinks that seemed to symbolize his inflated ego. A ripple of stifled chuckles danced around the room, each laugh a bitter note in the symphony of corporate arrogance. Unfazed, Clara set down her tray with deliberate grace. Slowly, she reached into her cleaning cart and withdrew a document, a simple piece of paper that carried the weight of decades of legacy. Clearing her throat with quiet authority, she spoke, "Actually, I'm here to announce your termination." In an instant, the boardroom fell into a frozen silence, the air thick with disbelief and shock. With measured determination, Clara handed the document to the trembling board chair. The paper was more than just ink and paper. It bore a faded photograph of her parents' pillars of the company's founding days stapled to her share certificates. Her voice, steady and resolute, broke the silence. "I own 51% of Swiftech. Mr. Thornton has not only embezzled funds and betrayed the trust of every hard-working employee but has also openly mocked the very people who keep this company running. Effective immediately, he is fired." In that moment, as the board struggled to comprehend the seismic shift before them, Clara stood as the embodiment of quiet strength and unwavering justice, a testament to a legacy that refused to be tarnished. Mr. Thornton's face drained of color as he stammered, You can't." His words hung in the air, desperate and futile against the quiet storm that was Clara. Before he could muster another syllable, Clara's measured voice cut through the tension like a knife through silk. "Security will escort you out," she declared, her tone unyielding and resolute. In that charged moment, the room transformed. The oppressive silence shattered as Mr. Thornton stormed from the room, his earlier arrogance replaced by stunned disbelief. The board members, once complicit in his deceptions, now erupted into a spontaneous applause, a thunderous ovation not just for his expulsion, but for the restoration of justice and honor. Clara stood there, calm and dignified, embodying the unspoken promise of her parents' legacy. In that final act of defiance, she redefined the very soul of Swiftech Industries, proving that integrity, when nurtured with quiet strength, can overcome even the deepest betrayals. Within just a few short weeks, Clara's decisive intervention transformed the very heartbeat of Swiftech Industries. Now stepping into the role of CEO, she set about restoring the core values that had once made the company a beacon of innovation and integrity. She initiated sweeping changes, raising employee wages to not only match their hard work but also to reflect the respect they deserved, and overhauling the company's ethics policies to ensure transparency, fairness, and accountability in every corner of the organization. In an act that was both symbolic and deeply personal, Clara surprised the staff by gifting each of them a new pair of shoes, a playful yet poignant nod to the days when their teasing remarks had been directed at her humble, worn-out footwear. This gesture resonated far beyond mere fashion. It was a tangible reminder that every member of the team, regardless of their role, was valued and respected. As the days passed, the old mockery that once permeated the halls of Swiftech faded into memory. In its place, a newfound respect and camaraderie bloomed. The atmosphere was transformed. No longer was the workplace a stage for ridicule and indifference, but a vibrant community where trust and integrity reigned. Clara's leadership not only revived the company's legacy but also reawakened a sense of purpose and unity among the employees, paving the way for a future where every step forward was taken together. Even as Clara settled into her new role as CEO, something fundamental about her remained unchanged. Every Friday, as the workweek drew to a close, she still took the time to clean the office herself. The mop in her hand and the bucket at her side were as familiar to her as the boardroom chair she now occupied. She would smile as she worked, the rhythmic sound of her sweeping echoing softly through the hallways. "Keeps me humble," she would say to anyone who asked, her voice warm and genuine. It wasn't just a ritual, it was a reminder. A reminder that true power wasn't wielded by titles or authority, but by understanding the value of every person in the company, no matter their role. Clara knew better than anyone that leadership wasn't about elevating oneself above others, it was about lifting everyone up together. In the quiet hum of the office, where the echoes of old mockeries had long since faded, Clara's presence was a living testament to the strength found in humility. Through her actions, she demonstrated that real power lay not in commanding respect, but in giving it. And in doing so, she earned the loyalty and admiration of everyone around her, not by force, but by showing them that their worth, their efforts, and their voices mattered, no matter where they stood in the grand scheme of things. Never underestimate someone based on their job, for the value of a person isn't defined by the tasks they perform, but by the heart with which they do them. Clara's journey was a living testament to this truth. She had started out as the quiet janitor, the one who was overlooked, dismissed, and mocked, yet through her kindness, her unwavering integrity, and her silent strength, she proved that greatness doesn't always wear a suit or sit behind a desk. It often wears worn shoes and quietly mops floors. In a world that often elevates status and titles, Clara's story reminds us that true power lies in the ability to remain humble, to be kind when others mock, and to lead with integrity when it's most needed. Arrogance may be loud, But it is kindness and integrity that leave a lasting impact, touching lives in ways that cannot be measured by any paycheck or position. Her legacy at SwiftTech was not just one of corporate success, but of a quiet revolution, one that showed, beyond all doubt, that a person's worth is defined by their actions, not their role. And in the end, kindness always outshines arrogance, leaving behind a world brighter and better than before.